A piece of advice that you give every new manager at Marvell.
Have the CEO mindset.
One word that captures Marvell India's ethos.
Continuous improvement.
A leadership lesson that you always carry with you.
Bloom where you are planted.
One book or thinker that's influenced your approach to innovation.
Start with Why by Simon Sinek.
So what excites you most about India's tech future and growth?
India is building the physical and digital infrastructure at a very rapid pace. That digital infrastructure creates the opportunity for us to create digital equity and also a better future using all the technologies.
Welcome to CRISE, the GCC Edition, where we dive into conversations with transformative leaders steering global innovation from India's rapidly growing Global Capability Center ecosystem. I'm Shivani Muthana from Your Story, and today we spotlight a sector that powers everything from your smartphone and electric vehicle to the future of cloud computing and AI. Semiconductors. And at the heart of that transformation is Marvell Technology, a company that designs infrastructure-grade silicon powering the world's data economy. And joining us today is Navin Bishnoi, India Country Manager and AVP of Central Engineering at Marvell. Welcome, Navin, and thrilled to have you here.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Navin, now looking at Marvell, right, it really plays a vital role in building the infrastructure that powers cloud, that powers 5G. And how do you see Marvell India really contributing to this larger mission?
When you go and build any of these digital infrastructure, there are three elements into it. Processor, to be able to process the data. You need to move the data, so you need the networking. And then you need to store the data. Sometimes you make decisions later, right? And you have to build a security layer on top of it because it's yours and mine data, right? These are the, I would say, building foundation blocks for a processor. Now, when we go and take this into a infrastructure solution, there are multiple things that happens from technology development to a product development to manufacturing, get back, validation, test, build the software on top of it, and then get it out to the customer. Most of the semiconductor companies, and Marvell included, right, we have all elements of that in India, right from the basic research on what will the physics of, how will the electrical parameters be, the physics would be, and then building the architecture of a chip, the use cases, and integrate it all together. So we have an end-to-end doing it for these infrastructure solutions right here from India.
Right. Now, when you look at semiconductors as a space, right, and as an industry, it's very R&D intensive, talent intensive, IP driven in a sense. So how is India positioned, and more importantly, Marvell India positioned to uniquely tackle such deep tech challenges?
Most of this started with the whole thing, the talent. India had a huge talent pool, which is good academia ecosystem, and many of us aspiring to get into the high-tech space, right? That's what built all the space of the stack of development that I talked about. But what also started happening slowly was that a lot of these technologies that we were building started finding a use case in India. We are one of the biggest consumers of these technologies that's coming in. Once you have the use case coming in, so now you're no more doing just a basic engineering to build a product. You actually go and bring in and do a lab to do the validation. You also go and bring in a product management to go and chase the market. You go and bring in the documentation and the field support and all of those things. So you go and pack it up with a complete, product development rather than just an engineering in a specific function. And that's what Marvell India has tapped, that not just the engineering, which is electrical and electronics and some part of computer, but we have expanded into multiple different domains and leveraged the India offering and then made Marvell India as a key R&D hub for the data infrastructure technology.
Right. Now, when we talk about engineering talent, right, Navin, you've scaled some of the largest engineering teams across embedded systems, storage, and cloud tech. What's your approach to building these high-performance, globally integrated teams from India?
3 levels. When you look at creation of the team, you need a diversity of talent, and this diversity is one, how do you get the fresh pool of talent who brings fresh ideas? The second one, I'll go to the up the ladder, is that how do we get the people who defines what needs to be done? These are the architects, the leaders, the technologists, and all of those things. So we went and hired these two from these pools. And then is the central pool, which is a lot of people who have gone into their initial learning, have a area where you keep growing, but as well as go and hire and then make a large pool. So it's like 3 level of talent pool that comes in.
Great to see how you're nurturing, all these talent pools and sources where they're coming from. And how does Marvell India also strike a balance between driving cutting edge innovation and also aligning the team with the fast evolving global product cycle?
Semiconductor product cycles used to be in few years. And now you see every year, you take the biggest phone company, they will come and launch a new phone every year, right? You go and look at the hyperscalers, they want to, every year they say their cloud infrastructure is gone up by this, right? Now, I can't compress my development into an year cycle. So I'll have to do a so-called as a concurrent development. In one product line or a technology, I am developing for what is needed for this year or next year. But in parallel, I'm also looking at two parallel technology of what I'll need next year and the year after year. Look at it as from an N+2 mindset. And then so we kind of sometimes, many of us share saying like we have a time allocated to look at the future while also do this. And in some cases, we have also carved out a team which is specifically looking only for the future technologies, while a large pool continues to do the development. And that's the balance that you do to say that, hey, I am doing the execution, development, and then there's a piece of our research happening for the next development.
So a lot of things running in parallel, the
It is.
research and the development.
It is always together. R and D coexist. You cannot do only research or only design.
Right. And when it comes to the culture, really, right, because you're working in such diverse geographies, diverse talent, what are some of the cultural principles or leadership philosophies that guide your approach to managing these cross-border teams?
We call it as a One Marvell. Means we are present in almost 20 plus geographies. And so I work with engineers across the geography, cultural difference, language difference. One Marvell theme, what we say is that I think it's built on few things, right? One, the integrity, right? Being able to respect everyone, have the integrity in whatever you do. Second, everything innovation that you do is to be customer successful. Third, you execute at speed because you want to ensure that the execution is highest quality and do at the speed. And fourth, while you're doing it, do it so that you can help each other.
Nicely put, Naveen. And, in a GCC like Marvell India, where tech, of course, is also evolving rapidly, the area of semiconductors and the product cycles evolving rapidly. So what skills and mindsets do you believe your engineering and larger talent workforce need to really have to be future ready?
Primarily, it's an engineering domain, right? Yeah. You need engineers to be able to do that. Traditionally, the electrical engineers, the computer science engineers. And in that case, engineering was about problem solving. What has come in is that we call saying that AI is coming for everyone, and it's built on what we call as a chips, right? Yeah. But we also say is that how can I use AI for chips, right? We said AI is helping us in automating, in reducing the process, making things faster. So we are also enabling saying how can you leverage technologies like AI or others to automate and do things faster. So now your talent does not need just the regular engineering principles of electrical phenomena, physics, or mechanical and others. They also need to say is that how can I use these tools to things automation and faster. The second mindset also is that I told you that these are long development cycles. How can I build something called as a reuse concept? Can we make that foundation blocks ready so that you and I and others can reuse it, and that way the integration becomes faster. So the skills is moving from the basic engineering to be able to adapt to these new technologies that's coming in, being able to shift left mindset, and then build founding blocks so that we can reuse many and do it faster.
Great. And with, India's semiconductor ambitions as well gaining momentum, how do you view the interplay between global companies and academia, as well as India's emerging chip ecosystem, and how do you really bring all of that together?
We were kind of late as a country into the semiconductor overall ecosystem. The chip design or semiconductor development has been happening here for 4 decades. More than 20%, and maybe people say 25% of the worldwide engineers in design is in India. So we have been playing a role, but this has been doing it for the global companies, global customers, global products, right? What we are trying to do is that we realize that India is a huge consumer economy.
Yeah.
Right? We are seeing the digital infrastructure grow in India at a very fast pace. That means we can build a lot of things. So when you can build it, you can reduce those import dependency. And to do that, what we need to do, and that's where the India Semiconductor Mission came in. So government comes with incentives and says, I will enable incentives, and I invite the global and Indian companies to come and set up the manufacturing footprint that will expand into the ancillary companies and the other ecosystems and supply chain. And then we can create an end-to-end ecosystem where a product is defined from India or from global, but then can be completely designed, manufactured, and enabled from India. So manufacturing ecosystem is coming in. Academia was always there. The global companies are doing this. The fourth pillar in that became the startups, saying the Indian startups coming in to say is that I will create products for India and for the world, right? So these are all coming in to interplay. I just want to tell everyone is that have patience. These takes time. For us to go from building the technology and the factories to be able to convert an idea into a product and like commercializing it, it will take years and we'll get there, but we are doing all the right steps this time.
And how is Marvell India really playing its role in shaping this vision of India actually, having its own design manufacturing units?
Yes, so companies like Marvell, which are multinational, and in some cases the customers are more global. One is that how do we ensure that the ecosystem has the right talent, academia, research, infrastructure, talent for jobs, and all of that. So we are involved with the government and academia to create the right curriculum, train the faculties, and ensure that there are skilling programs and the right talent comes out of it, and it benefits Marvell and the wider ecosystem that's getting created. The second one is also about that how do we go and enable from the top when government puts a manufacturing or a startup unit, can I leverage that to be able to support my supply chain and all of that. Right. So we are looking at it saying there is a big manufacturing ecosystem of board designs coming in. Marvell does board designs across the world. Can I go and leverage something from the India ecosystem to be able to build and then support to that? So there are two ways that we are building in. The third one is then we make the product for India. That's little far because of the space that we play in, cloud and infrastructure. But I'm sure in coming years we'll be there as well.
Right. Great to see this interplay of, giving and taking and really building for the larger semiconductor ecosystem as well, Navin. Navin's insights into engineering culture, talent, and the semiconductor future are not just inspiring, they're of course foundational to India's growing strategic role in global innovation. This was CRISE, the GCC edition. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for the next one.